There is a quiet war that lives within you, one no one applauds, yet one that shapes every word you speak, every step you take, and every life you touch. It is the battle between impulse and intention, between the storm of emotion and the stillness of control. You have been taught to react, to feel loudly, to answer every spark with fire. But what if your true power was never in the noise, but in the calm that refuses to be shaken? What if the greatest strength you could ever possess is the ability to stand in the heat of chaos and remain untouched within? Today, we do not chase emotions, nor do we silence them. We learn to master them with 4 timeless Stoic habits that will not just change how you feel, but transform who you become. There is a moment so small it often goes unnoticed, yet so powerful it can change the course of your entire life. It lives between the spark and the flame, between the words spoken and the silence that follows. Most people rush past it, driven by habit, pulled by emotion, controlled by the urgency of reaction. But you are not most people. You are learning to see that moment, to recognize it, to step into it with intention. Because in that pause, you are no longer a prisoner of what happens to you. You become the author of what happens next. Life will not ask for your permission before it tests you. It will speak to you in harsh tones, place obstacles in your path, and sometimes hand you situations that feel unfair and unkind. In those moments, your first instinct will be to react, to defend, to argue, to let your emotions rise like a storm demanding to be heard. And yet, the Stoic knows something deeper. The Stoic understands that not every feeling deserves expression, and not every situation deserves immediate response. There is strength in restraint, a quiet dignity in choosing not to be swept away by the current of emotion. When you pause, even for a breath, something remarkable begins to happen. The heat of anger cools just enough for clarity to enter. The weight of fear loosens its grip, allowing courage to whisper in its place. That single breath becomes a shield, protecting you from saying words you cannot take back, from making choices that do not serve the person you are becoming. It is in that pause that you remember who you are, not a creature of impulse, but a being of thought, of awareness, of control. And do not mistake this pause for weakness. The world may celebrate quick reactions, loud responses, and immediate answers, but there is nothing powerful about being easily moved. True strength is measured by how well you can remain grounded when everything around you is trying to pull you away from yourself. It is easy to react. It takes discipline to pause. It is easy to follow emotion. It takes wisdom to lead it. So when life presses against you, when voices rise and tensions build, give yourself that sacred space. Let there be a breath before the answer, a stillness before the step. In that brief moment, you are reclaiming your power. You are deciding that your peace is not negotiable, that your actions will not be dictated by chaos, and that your character will not be compromised by the urgency of the moment. And in choosing to pause again and again, you begin to transform. What once triggered you loses its grip. What once controlled you no longer holds authority. You move through life with a quiet confidence, a steady presence that cannot be easily shaken. Because you have discovered a truth that many spend a lifetime searching for, that the greatest power you will ever have is not over the world around you, but over the self within. There are days when your emotions arrive uninvited, like a sudden storm rolling across an open sky, loud, overwhelming, impossible to ignore. Anger may thunder through your chest, sadness may fall heavy like rain, and fear may cloud your vision until you can barely see what lies ahead. In those moments, it is easy to believe that you have become the storm itself, that you are defined by the chaos you feel within. But that is the quiet illusion emotions create. They convince you that they are you, when in truth, they are only passing through. You must remember this, especially when the storm feels endless. You are not your feelings. You are the vast sky that holds them. You are the space in which they rise, move, and eventually fade. No storm, no matter how violent, has ever stayed forever. It comes, it shakes the ground beneath you, and then, just as surely, it leaves. And when it does, the sky remains, untouched in its essence, unchanged in its depth. That sky is who you are. When you begin to understand this, something within you shifts. You stop clinging to every emotion as if it were your identity. You stop saying, I am angry, and begin to realize, I feel anger, but it does not own me. You create distance, not to suppress what you feel, but to see it clearly. And in that clarity, you gain power, because what you can observe, you can understand. And what you understand, you can learn to guide. This does not mean you become cold or unfeeling. It means you become aware. You allow emotions to speak, but you do not hand them the authority to decide your actions. You listen without surrendering. You feel without losing yourself. The Stoic does not silence the storm. They stand steady within it, knowing it cannot take the sky with it. There will be moments when the waves rise higher than you expect, when the pull of emotion feels stronger than your will to remain still. In those moments, do not fight yourself. Do not shame the feeling or wish it away. Instead, witness it. Let it rise without resistance, and trust in its nature to fall. The more you resist, the longer it lingers. But when you allow it to pass through you without attachment, it loses its power to control you. And slowly, with practice, you begin to stand differently in your own life. You are no longer tossed from one feeling to another, no longer defined by every passing mood. You become steady, grounded, deeply rooted in something far more enduring than emotion. You become the decision. That boundary is where your strength begins to reveal itself. It takes far more control to remain silent when you are provoked than it does to react without thought. Anyone can raise their voice, anyone can argue, anyone can try to win a moment. But it takes a steady mind and a disciplined spirit to walk away from what disturbs your inner balance. It takes courage to say without words, this will not move me. And in that moment, you are no longer controlled by the actions of others. You are guided by the strength within yourself. Silence also gives you something that reaction never can: clarity. When you are not busy defending, explaining, or reacting, you begin to see things as they truly are. You recognize which battles are fueled by ego, which conversations lead nowhere, and which conflicts are simply distractions from your growth. In your quiet, you begin to understand that winning every argument does not make your life better, but mastering yourself does. This does not mean you will never speak. Your voice still matters, your truth still has its place, but now your words are no longer driven by impulse, they are guided by intention. You speak when it is necessary, when it adds value, when it aligns with who you are becoming. And when it does not, you allow your silence to carry the message your words no longer need to explain. And over time, this quiet discipline transforms you. You become less reactive, less entangled in unnecessary conflict, less affected by the noise around you. You move with a calm confidence, knowing that your power does not lie in being heard by everyone, but in being at peace with yourself. Because in the end, the greatest victory is not in proving something to the world. It is in mastering the part of you that once needed to. There is a quiet burden many people carry without ever realizing they have the choice to put it down. It is the weight of other people's opinions, their actions, their expectations, and the endless need to control what was never truly theirs to control. You hold on to words that were spoken carelessly, replay moments that have long passed, and carry emotions that do not belong to your spirit. And slowly, without noticing, you become heavy, not because life is too much, but because you are holding too much of what was never meant for you. Detachment is not about becoming distant from life or indifferent to the world around you. It is about understanding the difference between what deserves your energy and what does not. It is the quiet decision to stop gripping tightly to things that disturb your peace. because what you refuse to hold cannot weigh you down, and what you choose to release cannot control you. There will be moments when people disappoint you, when situations unfold in ways you did not expect, when outcomes refuse to match your effort or your intention. In those moments, your instinct may be to hold on tighter, to analyze, to question, to try to fix what is already beyond your reach. But the more you hold, the more it holds you. The more you attach your peace to things outside of you, the more fragile that peace becomes. Detachment teaches you a different way. It teaches you to care, but not to cling, to give, but not to lose yourself in the giving, to be present, but not imprisoned by outcomes. You begin to understand that you can show up fully in your life without tying your inner stability to everything that happens around you. You can experience deeply without becoming consumed. And this is where your freedom begins to unfold. When you stop needing things to go a certain way in order to feel at peace, you take back control of your inner world. When you stop seeking validation from places that cannot give it, you begin to validate yourself. When you stop chasing what is running from you, you create space for what is meant to stay. It is not always easy to let go. There is comfort in familiarity, even when it brings you pain. There is a strange attachment to what you have known, even when it no longer serves you. But growth asks something greater of you. It asks you to trust that releasing what weighs you down is not a loss. It is a return to yourself. You will notice, as you begin to practice this quiet detachment, that life feels lighter. The same situations may arise, the same people may act as they always have, but something within you has changed. You are no longer pulled into every emotion, no longer affected by every shift in circumstance. You observe, you understand, but you do not absorb. And in that space, you find a peace that is no longer dependent on anything outside of you. A peace that does not break when things go wrong, that does not fade when people change, that does not disappear when life becomes uncertain. Because you have learned one of the most powerful truths you will ever carry, that your peace was never meant to be placed in the hands of the world. It was always meant to be protected by you. There is a quiet truth that reshapes everything once you begin to see it clearly. Life does not disturb you nearly as much as your interpretation of it does. The same moment that breaks one person becomes the making of another. The same words that wound one heart are brushed aside by another without a second thought. And in that difference lies a power most people never fully claim, the power of perception. It is not the event itself, but the meaning you give to it that shapes the world you live in. You have been conditioned to believe that circumstances define your experience, that what happens to you determines how you feel, how you act, and who you become. But look closer, and you will begin to notice something deeper. Between the event and your reaction, there is a lens, your thoughts, your beliefs, your perspective. And that lens has the ability to transform even the harshest reality into something bearable, even meaningful. When you change the way you see, you change the way you live. There will be moments when life feels unfair, when doors close without explanation, when people fail to meet you with the same energy you offer them. In those moments, your mind will be quick to tell a story, one of rejection, of injustice, of loss. And if you accept that story without question, it will shape your emotions, your confidence, your direction. But what if the story is not the only one available to you? What if that closed door is not rejection, but redirection? What if that disappointment is not an ending, but a quiet invitation to grow beyond what you once expected? This is not about denying reality or pretending that pain does not exist. It is about choosing a perspective that serves your strength instead of feeding your suffering. You are allowed to feel, to acknowledge hurt, to recognize difficulty, but you are also capable of deciding what that experience will mean for you. Will it make you bitter, or will it make you wiser? Will it convince you to shrink, or will it challenge you to expand? When you begin to take ownership of your perception, you stop being at the mercy of every situation. You stop waiting for life to become easier, kinder, or more predictable before you allow yourself to feel at peace. Instead, you carry that peace within you, shaped not by what happens, but by how you choose to understand it. You begin to see obstacles as teachers, delays as preparation, and challenges as opportunities to refine who you are becoming. It is a quiet shift, but a powerful one. The world around you may remain the same, but your experience of it transforms completely. What once frustrated you begins to teach you. What once discouraged you begins to strengthen you. And what once felt like chaos begins to reveal its hidden order. And in this understanding, you step into a deeper kind of control, not over events, not over people, but over the one place where your true power has always lived. Your mind becomes less reactive, more intentional. Your vision becomes clearer, your spirit steadier, because you now understand that while you cannot always choose what happens, you can always choose how you see it. And in that choice, again and again, you begin to shape a reality that no longer controls you, but one that you, with quiet strength and unwavering awareness, begin to master. There is a quiet resistance that lives in all of us, the instinct to fight what we do not like, to argue with what has already happened, to demand that life unfold according to our expectations. You see it in the way you replay conversations, wishing you had said something different. You feel it in the frustration of outcomes you cannot change, in the tension that rises when reality refuses to match your desires. And in that resistance, there is a hidden cost. The more you push against what is, the more it pushes back against your peace. You must come to understand that not everything in life is yours to control. Not people, not outcomes, not the timing of every opportunity, and certainly not the past. There are forces that move beyond your reach, events that unfold without your permission, and moments that arrive uninvited. And yet, so much of your suffering is born from the belief that you should be able to control them. That if you just tried harder, thought differently, or held on longer, you could bend life to your will. But life does not work that way, and the sooner you accept this, the lighter your spirit becomes. Acceptance is often misunderstood. It is not giving up, and it is not weakness. It is clarity. It is the ability to look at a situation exactly as it is, without denial, without resistance, and without the need to rewrite it into something more comfortable. It is saying, this is what is in front of me, and choosing to meet it with steadiness instead of struggle. Because when you stop fighting reality, you free up your energy to actually deal with it. There is a deep kind of freedom in letting go of what you cannot control. When you release the need to change the past, you stop carrying its weight into your present. When you stop trying to control how others think or behave, you stop tying your peace to their actions. When you accept that some things will not go your way, you begin to move with life instead of against it. And in that movement, there is less friction, less frustration, and far more clarity. This does not mean you become passive. You still act, you still strive, you still care deeply about your life and your direction. But now, your efforts are focused only on what is within your reach. Your choices, your mindset, your actions. You stop wasting energy on battles you were never meant to win. And instead, you strengthen the one place where your influence is absolute, within yourself. There will be moments when acceptance feels difficult, when every part of you wants to resist, to hold on, to refuse what is happening. In those moments, remember that acceptance is not about liking the situation. It is about no longer allowing it to disturb your inner balance. You can acknowledge pain without becoming consumed by it. You can face difficulty without losing your sense of self. You can stand in uncertainty without letting it shake your foundation. And as you begin to practice this, something shifts within you. The tension that once lived in your mind begins to ease. The constant need to control begins to soften. You start to trust that even when things do not go as planned, you have the strength to navigate whatever comes next. Because your peace is no longer dependent on perfect circumstances. It is rooted in your ability to accept, adapt, and remain steady through it all. And in that acceptance, you find a quiet kind of freedom. A freedom that does not come from controlling life, but from no longer needing to. A freedom that allows you to breathe more deeply, to move more lightly, and to live more fully. Because when you finally stop resisting what you cannot change, you make space for something far more powerful, the ability to grow through it, rise above it, and remain unshaken within it. There is a kind of strength the world rarely recognizes because it does not announce itself. It does not demand attention. It does not seek validation, and it does not feel the need to prove its existence. It is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted within. While others may measure strength by how loud someone speaks, how quickly they react, or how forcefully they defend themselves, true emotional strength moves in silence. It is found in the person who feels everything, yet chooses to remain grounded. You will see it in moments where most would break, when tension rises, when words are thrown like weapons, when emotions fill the room with heat and urgency. There is always one person who does not get swept away, not because they do not feel, but because they have learned not to be ruled by what they feel. They listen, they observe, they understand, but they do not lose themselves. And in that quiet control, there is a power far greater than any outward display. It takes little effort to react. Anyone can raise their voice. Anyone can let anger take the lead. Anyone can allow emotions to spill without restraint. But to remain calm when you are provoked, to stay composed when you are misunderstood, to hold your center when everything around you feels unstable, that requires a different kind of strength. A strength that is built in silence, practiced in patience, and revealed only in moments that truly test you. This kind of strength does not mean you suppress what you feel. It means you understand it without becoming it. You allow emotions to rise, but you do not let them take control of your actions. You create a space within yourself where feeling and response are not the same thing. And in that space, you choose who you want to be instead of becoming whatever the moment demands. There will be times when your calm will be mistaken for weakness. People may expect a reaction from you, may even try to provoke one, because they are used to a world where emotion is expressed without control. But you are not here to meet every expectation. You are here to protect your peace, to preserve your clarity, and to move through life with intention rather than impulse. And sometimes the most powerful response you can give is none at all. Emotional strength is not about controlling the world around you. It is about mastering the world within you. It is about knowing that no matter what happens, you have the ability to remain steady, that your peace is not fragile, not easily broken by circumstances or the behavior of others. It is anchored in something deeper, in your awareness, your discipline, your understanding of yourself. And over time, this quiet strength begins to shape your presence. You walk differently, not with arrogance, but with calm certainty. You speak differently, not to be heard, but to be understood. You respond differently, not out of habit, but out of choice. People may not always notice it immediately, but they will feel it. They will sense that you are not easily shaken, not easily influenced, not easily moved away from who you are. Because in the end, the strongest person in the room is not the loudest one, nor the most aggressive, nor the most reactive. It is the one who has faced their own storms, learned their patterns, and chosen discipline over impulse. It is the one who can stand in the middle of chaos and remain at peace within themselves. And that kind of strength does not need to be seen to be real. It simply is.